And we're live. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. We're really happy to start the year with a panel on the quite important topic, I think, the metaverse. It's a topic that obviously it's very dear to me, but also really important for all the other speakers that we'll have on this event today. And we hope that you'll get to learn more, discover some of the possibilities of the metaverse. Before that, I'll like to introduce you the Blockchain Game Alliance, if you're not yet familiar. So we're an organization committed to promoting the adoption of blockchain technology within the broader game industry. Our goal is to spread awareness around like DeFi, NFTs, decentralization, and more use cases, and encourage adoption through highlighting those potential, showcasing projects, and how it engage new ways to create, publish, play, build communities, and more around video games. We're a strong advocate for more diversity and inclusivity in our industry, and we'll be sharing some big news on that topic soon, so stay tuned. And we are hoping to be a place for companies, individuals and companies, where all members and network can generate business together, can get access to various opportunities at events, speaking opportunities. Speaking of which, tomorrow we'll be present physically. We'll have a booth at the NFT Paris conference. So if by any luck you're in Paris, come say hi at the booth. You will be able to meet in person BGA members, and we'll be hosting as well a dinner among BGA members. So ask us on our Discord or Telegram for more details. Beside that, we're also helping companies around research and reporting, establishing working groups. We're here to represent all blockchain and all games company, providing more visibility for our members, and of course, advocating for blockchain within the broader game industry, as we did recently with the 2021 member survey and report published last December. I'd like to give a big thanks to all our sponsors, including AMD, My Neighbor Alice, Illuvium, One Way Block, Star Atlas, Give Game, Teva Era, V Empire, Splinterland, Ubisoft, Zaya, Fear, Protocol, Gameloft, DNA, Kate Kingdom, Metaverse, Starmon, Mirror World, Dogami, Decimated, Win.com, Vulcan Forge, Syndrome, Super Reveal, Megacorp, Cryptomon, Gateon Gaming, Mobox, Non-Fungible, Digital Asset Entertainment, Binance, Gamerash, Game Exchange, Corpo, TriumphX, Drops, Cartesy, Gems, Tezos, Algorand, AnarchaX, Boson, Protocol, Polygon, Chromium, Xtype, Yoshi, NFTB, Cardia Chain, Sushi Swap, Contribute, Galaxy Interactive, Animoca Brands, Tap Radar, Simplex, Consensus, Polkadot, G2A, UNIX Gaming, which is here today with us, Dacoco, BR Capital, Akanoon, Bitcraft, and Criterion. Wow, the list keeps growing of all those companies that support the BGA. A big thanks to them as they help to broaden our action. And of course, we have grown to over 300 members with companies in games, chains and protocol, marketplaces, solutions for developers, esports, press, media, investors, and all actors from various corners of the industry. We run events, all sorts of events, usually once a week, interviews, workshops, new member presentation once a month, various panels across key topics, as well as the very popular demo day where you get to see existing product and games live in action. Without any further ado, let's welcome our three speakers today. So we'll have Mirko Dölger from UNIX Gaming, Marcus Bläsche from the Sandbox, and Benjamin Charbit from DAREWISE. And our conversation will be hosted today by Luis and Flavien, who are community manager at the BGA.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Sebastian, and thank you very much to everyone for being here today and to our audience as well. I just want to remind you that if you have any questions, just drop them on the comments, and we can address them during the panel as well. So they're usually very valuable questions, so don't hold on them. Just write them, and we will address them for sure. And also, would like to give Flavien a couple of seconds for him to introduce himself. He's recently joined the BGA. Very happy to have you here today as well.
Yeah, thank you very much, Luis. I won't take the stage from our three speakers today, and the subject is very interesting. So I'm very happy to join the BGA as community management, and very happy to talk about all the different activities we have with our members. And yes, as Luis said, don't hesitate. I'm sure you have a lot of questions about the metaverse. So yeah, please feel free to comment, and I will go through and will address to the different speakers.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Flavian. Okay, well, let's get started with today's panel. Well, we already introduced Marcus, Mirko, and Benjamin. They all represent some of the most amazing companies in the metaverse right now. So let's start with you guys introducing yourselves as well first in like 1 minute. Start with Marcus in this case.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Marcus. I'm the marketing director at the Sandbox, and also co-founder of Rumble Kong League, which is a sport play to earn project. Happy to be here. I joined the Sandbox actually. I'm rather new in the space. I joined almost exactly 1 year ago, so I'm very happy to be here, and I'm falling down this rabbit hole since a while. So yes.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Marcus. Mirko, your time. We can hear you. You're in mute.
Sorry. Mirko, hi from UNIX Gaming. And Marcos, when you started early, basically really step into the metaverse, that was in kind of June, when we launched UNIX Gaming, a gaming guild. And so entering the metaverse from the gaming side, and happy to build. We're not only at the moment going to be a guild, we're expanding, and as you see in the chat, it's the UNIXverse, and we're happy to build, contribute, and so that's from my side.
Awesome, thank you. And Benjamin.
Hi everybody, I'm Benjamin. I'm the co-founder of DAREWISE Entertainment, a game studio based in Paris, but distributed all across Europe. We're developing a game called Life Beyond, which is this new generation of MMO, a decentralized MMO. It's I'd say I wouldn't say that I'm pretty new, but in a way, because we've been working on the metaverse since late 2017, but in a very centralized way for several years before we kind of saw the light and decided to really expand and change a little bit this key pillar of the value proposition. And we discovered decentralization and Web3, and just fell in love with the philosophy and all the opportunities. So very happy to be here for the second time to talk about the topic.
Great, thank you very much. So now let's get started with the questions. And let's start with Benjamin. You're saying that you have all those years of experience, and you've seen how the metaverse, the concept of the metaverse, has changed from more centralized to a more decentralized concept. So for you, what is the metaverse? What does the metaverse mean to you?
So the metaverse is for us, it's this idea of a virtual world where people have very meaningful social and economic experiences. So coming from this game background, even though I discovered the concept of the metaverse back in the days when I was reading Neil Stephenson literature, it has obviously evolved into this idea of expanding the kind of virtual world that we've been developing. I was a creative director on Assassin's Creed in the past, for instance, but these worlds now can become places where, as a human being, have an existence that is very meaningful, that is not just virtual, but more that is digital, and where I can earn a revenue, where I can make a living, where I can build extremely important social relationships with people, to a point where this digital existence becomes as important as my physical one.
Awesome, thank you. So we're just getting started on heating up. So this same question will be for all of you guys. Maybe Mirko, what are your views on the metaverse?
Yeah, personally, I would say in a centralized metaverse is the place where I grew up in video games. I was a professional gamer, and let's say I spent a lot of time in World of Warcraft. If you're familiar, MMORPG, and it's been basically, let's say, for me, the first steps into it, like being a character, taking on a role, the role I want. I have choice. World of Warcraft is not only for fighting monsters and beating dungeons. It's also being you can like farm and go out and fishing, for example. And there's been a lot of options what being brought to the metaverse for me in that time. But once you log off, basically there was the border ends. And I think for me now, participating after let's say 15 years, 10 years, where the technology increase, the possibilities also with it, and having crypto and NFT now as a very, very good vehicle to transport more and more people, having the social media range to get people into the metaverse. This is where now I think the massive opportunities are there. And then with UNIX gaming, I think gamers been ever since the people who are adopting the first adopter on the metaverse, because we spend so much time as a gamer in the metaverse, Fortnite, buying skins or any kind of stuff. We already purchased basically digital goods and participating, but only on the gaming side. And now the metaverse basically can be attacked from more angles. Basically, you become an artist, creator. So the metaverse is now it's I think now blooming, and it's time to build. And I think I'm super happy with our company basically, and people like you, all the people here on the panel, and other amazing projects and protocols out there to building the metaverse. And this is the goal we're here for, and making it really accessible, not only from the gaming side, but education is super important, I think, also to onboard more people into the metaverse. What is the metaverse? Teaching about risks in the metaverse and so on. Yeah, so that was a quick intro for me, how I see and we as a company envision the metaverse.
Awesome. Well, a very complete view for sure. And Marcus, same question. What's the metaverse for you, and what's the vision for the Sandbox regarding the metaverse as well?
Yeah, I don't have so much to add to what the other two speakers already said. Like speaking specifically for the Sandbox, of course, it's when you look at it, you might consider it a gaming platform. However, we are much more than this, which is really this digital platform that is about empowering creators and building a virtual space that where you can live out what you want to do, find jobs, meet friends, and live your life. And this is like while on Mirko's side there was a heavy focus on gaming, and my background is also gaming. I now over the last year and beyond that have been exposed to a lot of other use cases that I before that have not been aware of like teams that like individuals that are earning money in the through playing games, to creating experiences, building assets, and this shift into a digital world and opportunities into monetizing your own creativity and productivity, I think is one part of what the metaverse is for us. But on the other side as well, to build a environment that is very open and interoperable to a lot of things. So if you're a gamer, you will find like-minded communities. If you are a brand, you will have a space where you can build your brand presence. Or if you're musicians, you will have a space where you can do music. And all of this we want to put under one roof in the Sandbox and build this this virtual world that we are still building, that is right now in alpha.
Yes, absolutely. And Marcus, regarding this, is there a way that we can talk about the metaverse without mentioning this interoperability you're talking about between all major actors of this new digital world, brands, companies, centralized, decentralized, and between protocols as well? What do you think about this?
For me, it's all it's very much linked interoperability and the metaverse, because what we've seen in the past was really much around companies and corporations building their own walled gardens to keep their customer in, and building something that can be only consumed from within and enjoyed if you are part of this this illustrious circle or part of this ecosystem. While on the metaverse, specifically on the Sandbox side now, for us it's much more than this, and building a opportunity for various brands, communities, individuals, creators to come together in a space that is very open to anything that you want to do. So there's definitely a need for interoperability and loosening the barriers between various platforms and environments. And that's something we are very persistent in supporting. Like when you look at the brands that we are working with, it goes from the Smurfs, Care Bears to Snoop Dogg and Adidas and a lot of others that we didn't announce yet. And it is this environment where you log in and you can get exposed to other players, creators, but also brands, which just happen to be the case. But all of them together in one virtual environment.
I would add to that the idea is also that all of us here are trying to develop a single platform that we're going to operate for many years. And when you come from the games industry, for instance, we used to do a lot of fire and forget. We would work on something and then move on to something else. I think if we want now to create services and platforms that can last significantly more, we need to make them communicating and open to other experiences, to other platforms, and so that we're not forcing and we're not locking our communities in a very protective way, and that it's exactly the opposite. I think it's just Web3 that is very much carrying this philosophy, which we love here, and we're looking forward to be able to do stuff with the Sandbox and with other platforms and other experiences, other players in the space. And instead of seeing everybody as a competitor, we see everybody as an opportunity to just expand the experience.
Yes, absolutely. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank everyone for sharing their visions, and also to share the same question with the audience watching. There's quite a lot of you here. So just sharing that question with everyone throughout the panel. What's the metaverse for you? How do you envision the metaverse in the future? So we can continue the conversation going in the chat as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, to finish the question from my side. I mean, there's something I think without cooperation, among everybody who want to contribute in the metaverse, we cannot build the metaverse. Yeah, then it wouldn't fail. It would fail the mission. We see it from that side. That's why also, for example, we as UNIX in UNIX gaming, we have started with a guild, but having a UNIX verse gives us also more, let's say, our gaming studio, our web app, Web 3.0 app, or we have several projects, and with several projects, let's say, we can build more and more partnerships. And this is actually one of our biggest departments is actually the partnership department, because building the connections with other protocols, with other games, with other services, like, for example, we recently talked to Bitwage to have smart contract salaries for our employees. This is stuff we want to implement in our ecosystem with our employees. So there's a lot of stuff we're doing, and getting these partnerships and having people who are responsible for certain partnerships in our organization, and building more and more, and partnership is not only once, right? You announce something on Twitter. It's like building on together, and this is the more important part. Value add on both sides. Either is it community, is it resources, is it tech, or anything. This is what we definitely very open for, and and working really hard to to get more and more, meet more and more people, like here on the panel, and also, of course, in our day-to-day operation.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that note, Mirko, well, you're talking about partnerships, and we've seen, as Marcus was already saying, we've seen a lot of big brands joining the metaverse, Adidas, Nike, Walmart, etc., etc., etc. So why? And this is a question for the three of you, whoever wants to answer it. So why is this happening? Why big brands are seeing an opportunity in the metaverse, and what are your views on this?
I mean, I'm happy that really Adidas is one of the companies, because Adidas is already a lot of young people, especially, they identify with, let's say, with the brand, right? Adidas, they're wearing the clothes. And Adidas is definitely, I think they have a very good management, and the metaverse means another level of growth, you know, another new audience, another, let's say, financial territory where they can expand to. So I think for the future branding as well, you know, so Adidas was, for example, just centralized so far, let's say, you know, in the traditional market, I call it like that. And now they're going more and more in the area where basically with the NFT drop to create digital items, what can be traded, you know. So they I think to make the transition, or at least part of the company, part of the business, bring it into the metaverse, I think this is really the end goal for the traditional companies. So that's why strategic fit, I think, super good collaboration. I think everybody know Bored Apes is an amazing hype, and having Adidas as a brand, and I think recently now also Prada. So I mean, it's like there's a lot of things going on. So and on Microsoft board, Blizzard, and you know, and getting, you know, everybody want to conquer the metaverse with bigger and bigger news. So and you see, and it's going to be a trend, and I think every brand want to be represent themselves into the metaverse. And for example, Sandbox is an awesome platform for that, you know, giving basically different businesses, let's say, the chance to build an entertaining space for their users, giving them and let's say a Coca-Cola experience on Sandbox, you know, and this you will see more and more often, while brands like that joining the metaverse, of course, with a nice campaign. And it's interesting just to talk with friends and people from the space, you know, a consulting a company who really have no clue about NFT and crypto is like telling, you know, no offense, yeah, don't get me wrong, but it's like really, there's like people that never been taught about it because they've been so busy with their regular business, and then getting them and telling them NFT, you can do this. It's like to major companies, you know. So it's interesting, and everybody want now to get in, and it's cool thing that we are actually, everybody who already stepped into the metaverse, we are actually the main brands, or you know, not to focus always Sandbox because Marcos is here and Sebastian, but you know what I mean. It's like
I can continue.
we are like this is the brand now of the metaverse, not Coca-Cola, not Adidas. You know, it's like for the metaverse, Sandbox is, for example, is now one of the major players, and that's cool. And getting now also like on the same level collaborations. And yeah, again, I think strategic, perfect fit. So yeah.
I do have a question at this point, but I don't know, Marcus, if you want to go ahead first. But something I want to just add into the conversation is that we've seen Twitter and other big social media also approaching NFTs. I don't know if you saw, but Twitter is going to allow NFTs to become your profile image and so on. So how do you see also social media sort of taking over what we've been building for the last few years? And how do you see that you know, happening and developing with the metaverse that you guys have been building? And maybe Marcus, you can address the question.
Yes, of course. So there's 2 points. First of all, what Mirko said as well, like, of course, like, thank you for the kind words, but end of the day, like, we also want to be a platform, a provider that helps, that enables creators and brands to build an experience in this space. So there's much more than this. And to what Serena mentioned as well, like, which is a very good point, that also like raises the question whether the metaverse, maybe it's just not like a platform that you go to interact and do something, but maybe it's also like something where you go and socialize. And Twitter, you could consider Twitter as their own little metaverse where you have all those various profile pictures interacting with each other that are their own communities, but they have this space where they are exchanging, they're talking, they're trading. Now, of course, the part is about like how can this be brought outside and into other platforms. So social media is playing a key role. Of course, right now there are preferences when it comes to where people in the space go to get their news, to meet other people, to find jobs, find opportunities. But I also think that this will be like more fragmented. There will be more platforms being built from the ground up when it comes to Web3 and possibilities that are on chain. And what we see on Twitter, like I think it's a great move, because Twitter as well, they see where the conversation is happening, and crypto Twitter is very active, and there's a lot of activity there. So it makes sense for them to tap into this audience and provide value to like formalize their, or like stabilize their position in that space. And so I think there's going to be others as well. There are others that are very active and building within the space, and it's going to be interesting to follow this over the coming years.
I maybe to complement a little bit here, I think, to me, what is important is that we can't just go decentralized everywhere for everything. I think it's a process that will take some time. And I'm even challenging if we need to do that for everything. Probably not. And I think that it's great. It's great to have a few centralized player who can create these bridges. And so to answer your question about Twitter and other social platforms, I think because they will help expanding, they will help evangelizing or making more accessible to a wider community. Especially what they're about to do with the profile pictures and stuff like that will automatically help to create this connection, I think. So that's why I'm trying, for instance, when people are challenging me or trying to ask me if how bad I think of Meta Facebook, I'm actually, I don't think that bad of them, because I think that it will be helpful. It is already being helpful for all of us, that they're helping, kind of promoting in a way, advocating, but they will do it in a very specific way, and it will be for some very a range of experiences and services, and we have our space and opportunities to do things in a decentralized way. But connecting with these things back and forth. So I think it contributes, it helps, and it really promotes.
Yeah, we have a good question from Fud Zero on, could you discuss on the differences, benefits between general purpose metaverse like Sandbox in comparison to game-based metaverses, XC, Illusion, etc. Actually, maybe it's a question for DAREWISE and for the life beyond games. It seems like a games, but do you feel like this is really different, like rather than metaverse like Sandbox? Do you feel that there is differences?
Absolutely, and I think it really connects with this idea that Sebastian has been promoting for a long time, and Animoca, which is this idea of the open metaverse. It's actually, there isn't the metaverse. This is what I believe there is, but there will be the open metaverse. This kind of network of experiences, of platforms that each bring something and connect. So, for instance, we are definitely going to have a form of presence in Sandbox, and I'm hoping that one day Sandbox will have a presence in life beyond as well. We're building an experience that has a lore, that has a story, a narrative. So it's obviously an entertainment, but I think the line between what is entertainment, what is labor, when he's just getting blurred right now. We're gaining into a really less binary world where we can do a little bit of everything everywhere on every platform. And so you might be earning a revenue on this one and spending money on this one, or maybe you'll be earning on both. Maybe your friends will be on one. I think this is, again, the beauty of this of this big movement, is that there is a place for everybody in these different experiences. So actually, yeah, of course they will be different. They will absolutely not provide the same things, but again, in ways that don't compete with each other for me.
One thing that you just mentioned that I just want to touch on is the fractalization of like the revenue streams, which also goes back to the question that was mentioned before: why Adidas is interested in Web3, why Nike is acquiring Artifact. Like these are topics that are very much around this topic, and talking to an audience that is young and that is like living digitally, that cares about avatar skins more than the clothes that they're wearing to go to school. And of course, like brands are seeing this and looking for a way to tap into this market as well, that is growing old, that is digitally native, and that is like consuming content digitally, that is on like on platforms that are very much social first and that are around like expression. And what Ben said is very much like hits the nail on the head. It's like, of course, each of us or like a lot of the platforms, you want to build something that is your own brand identity and your own product, but it shouldn't limit yourself to only this platform, but also remaining open to work with DAREWISE, work with UNIX, work with any other brand or platform out there, and finding opportunities that gives and adds value to your own community as well as the partner community.
I would like to pick on the question from Serena, the social question. I think it's a big question, and it goes also back to the Adidas, why they joining, and why we want to have, what Ben said, big players joining the metaverse. So social, I think, let's say comparing Instagram, people like uploading pictures of their life, but it's like, it's still like everybody make the same pictures, they try to find the same angle. But I think the next version, let's say, of social media is basically and using your NFT character and really showing off your digital products you have in any way it is, or is it an NFT, is it whatever, digital music, an album or whatever, and you put it on your whatever social media platform. And I think this is, again, Twitter good moves to work on that. And why big players, again, like it's good to have them as Adidas have a following. If the following goes into the metaverse, the following, let's say, just who wear shoes of Adidas, is a super fan of Adidas, have the Adidas newsletter, get informed about it. If every of the big player, if a superstar, Kylie Jenner joins the metaverse and want to purchase a Bored Ape, then their following will hear about it. And this is, of course, helps people basically hearing about the metaverse and maybe onboarding and getting then basically into the metaverse, and in which angle they want, and it's slowly adoption about that, either faster or bigger, depends on how big is the following of a company, of a brand, of a person.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all. And well, kind of mixing a lot of things that we've been talking about during the past few minutes. So we've seen these big brands or big companies. You already mentioned Facebook or Meta, the acquisition of Microsoft on Blizzard and Activision, or Activision Blizzard. Walmart, for instance, joining the metaverse, and all these huge companies trying to become a part of the metaverse. But still, I would like to know from any of you guys, what major steps do you still think that should happen to develop the metaverse further? Like, what else shall happen in order for us to finally say, okay, well, we're finally, the metaverse is finally evolving to a point that we envisioned it in the first place?
Maybe I can give my opinion from a marketing perspective, as I'm a marketing director at the Sandbox. I think a big hurdle, especially like talking at an event for the BGA, is the whole notion around what is a wallet, what is the blockchain, what is a digital asset, what is gas fees, all of this. Like 99% of the population have no idea how any of this works. And I think in terms of development, and I don't have to explain this, I think in this round, why those things exist. But overall, I think there's a lot of work left to be done when it comes to acquiring or like onboarding of new people into the space. That is just explaining or maybe reducing anything that is around, like, this is the wallet, this is why you need a wallet, this is gas fees, and just making this as smooth as possible for anyone entering the space, wanting to play a game, wanting to interact with other users, or doing a transaction. And for me, this is like one of the key things that would help to ease a lot of the pain points that we see right now.
I would just completely support exactly what Marcus is saying. It's there are 3 million people, players in crypto or blockchain games right now. This is obviously ridiculous, on the scale of the 3 billion gamers that we have out there. And that's a very good indicator, I think, of your question. It's the accessibility right now is very is obviously very complicated. It's very low, and we need to enhance that. I think it's great that there are guilds like UNIX who also in a way completely participate into evangelizing and promoting this. The second thing is we have you're going to be surprised because it's not so much. I don't think we are so much facing technological challenges. I think it's more like having the right service and the right culture. And right now we're also fighting a lot of prejudice, and we have a lot of education to do to be able to explain what's how this whole thing is running, explaining this new paradigm. That I think people still try to operate to get into this metaverse experience or interact with Web3 in a very Web2 mindset with a lot of legacy. And this is always why I think it ends up in like very bad experiences, because they're just trying to replicate, with these or using the same tools, and doesn't work out. So actually, I think it's more on this front that we are going to work and see probably companies that will come with or initiative. Maybe they won't be companies. Maybe they will be DAOs and a new form of organization that will help and improve here.
Something I also wanted to add is that we also need regulations in place. I know the European Parliament is currently speaking about how to best regulate NFTs and blockchain, how this can be implemented in, for example, legal challenges, So I do believe personally that once regulations will be coming in place and most people will have to comply with that, it'll become a norm. But on the back of that, a question I wanted just to throw in the panel is, these movements started with decentralization in mind, and everyone came together in a very decentralized and democratic way in that sense on the web. Now we are stepping from Web 2 to Web 3, but big corporates like Facebook, Microsoft, and so on, Google will surely soon join as well, are entering as well. So how do you see the future evolving? Do you think that a more centralized form of the metaverse will be back in fashion? Or would you believe that decentralization will, survive? Mirko.
Just because when we go to another question, I just finished quick the education part, and it's
yes, of course.
Short.
Yeah, sorry. Go on the education side.
This is something also basically the onboarding or what the metaverse need, the education part, right? So if we explored very quick, for example, as UNIX gaming as a community, that let's say 80% of the players, and what Ben mentioned, that they never been in touch with crypto, who landed in our community, and for us we realized really fast that we need to give at least basic intro on scam security and what happened, wallet, gas fees, and we have, let's say, an onboarding let's say in our Discord channel, for example, if you want to start as a player but you have really no clue, and to give basically, and this is just the minimum of education we can give at a moment. We're working, of course, and not only us. I know Sandbox is working on education and other platforms as well. But I think that the education part is definitely very, very important. And going to your questions about centralization and decentralization, I think at the moment it's we need to have centralization to become decentralized, but I think it just need time now. We cannot rush to full completely decentralized. Everything needs time to build, develop, regulations, as you mentioned. So it's a process in its time, and we can also not say when the metaverse is completed. Like we don't know. It really depends on how fast we build, how fast is the adoption, what is needed now. We don't know, I think, really what is happening in 6 months, right? Who joined the metaverse and how fast we are with the currently status of what we're building. So yeah, just from my side. Yeah.
Thank you so much for answering that. I think it's very important to be looking at this topic under a different lens. So I don't know if anyone else wants to add into it, but I also see great comments coming from the community watching. So thank you so much, guys, for keeping them coming. We'll continue as well the conversation over social media, but Louise and to all speakers, back to you guys.
Oh, thank you very much, Serena. Well, I kind of have a new question that came to mind after hearing you guys speak, and I remember there were some news recently. I cannot remember the platform it happened, but there are some concerns because if we're talking about to be in the metaverse, that for instance, your avatar or your identity becomes your digital ID in some way. So what do you think is our responsibility now for users, especially when it's decentralized, when it comes to how people treat themselves in the platform? I remember the news of seeing that someone was being harassed, and there were some people being harassed by some other people, some other users in one of these platforms. So what do you think is our responsibility when it comes to this? What are the regulations, for instance? How can you, or how can we actually make a secure environment for people online in these kind of platforms?
The first thing I would say is, and that just a disclaimer, not the whole depth of my thought here, is we can't be expected to solve a problem that Web2 hasn't even managed to solve it, ever. Like it's been unfortunately the internet is absolutely not a safe space, and it's crazy to see how toxic the communities could have been, including in some games. And I'm not gonna name drop them, but there are, if you guys are gaming and playing to some of the biggest games, you know how some of them are extremely toxic. But there were a few experiences that were very very efficient. It was when these publishers created tools or organs for the community to regulate itself, and with like a form like a justice system, and but backed with like a technology. I think this is exactly why it's going to get better in Web3 in a decentralized way. When first, the paradigm is that we're community first. We even build community before we build the services sometimes. Something that is shocking a lot of people, but that event will prove, I think, to make a lot of sense, because at the end of the day, all that matters is the community. And because of the technology, which enables, through composability and to programmability, to basically interact with an experience in a permissionless way, well, the communities are going to be able to build the services, the tools to help with this form of regulation. And again, I have a lot of faith. I have a lot of faith in people, because I think that the majority is always healthy. It's always a minority that isn't. But the problem is that so far they never really had the tools to be able to act. With decentralization and what blockchain provides, they get this opportunity, to be able to almost like act as vigilantes and create these services. So I have a lot of hope, but I totally think that us as publishers, as operators, we have a responsibility to make sure that this happens, and if it doesn't, to be the first one to chime in.
Yeah, absolutely. The community itself will, or the ecosystem itself, and the community and the people will kind of be vigilant to people behaving well in some way. So, Mirko, do you have any views on this?
I mean, about human behavior outside the world or inside the metaverse, I think this is what we have no control on. I think we can, of course, on our own project or here in the BGA as an alliance, we can, let's say, maybe make a, for example, work on a structure, what we want and what we don't want, let's say, what in the metaverse or what we like to see. But I think from a point of, and the internet was always be a place, let's say, what Ben mentioned, there's like people in real life, they don't have, the guts to say something, and in online there can be someone, and then they are the keyboard, the fighters, so I think the metaverse we want actually a place where people can be, let's say you're a janitor in real life, and you have, let's say, an average flat, an average salary, whatever. But in the metaverse, maybe you're a freaking cool artist, and we want actually that people like really the one who they can be someone, like the one maybe they cannot be in real life. And I think this is something we would limit with rules and decentralization. Basically, it means also for their character as individuals, people who attending the metaverse, can be really there is a lot of, or let's say, no limits to what's their desires. I think the potential risks, it's maybe not, it's maybe to summarize, could be another or concerns, another call or another session. See what is really to analyze that. But yeah, I think that's from my side. Yeah.
Yeah, coming back to the chat first, I wanted to say that Mirko, you have your community is taking down the chat. We have multiple comments. Thank you very much for that. And we got a very interesting question from Reno Pants 88. How important will it be to make NFTs and individual metaverse tokens transferable between multiple metaverses? Do you feel like this is a must when we are talking about metaverse?
Maybe I can start here. I don't think it's a must-have, but it goes back to a little bit what we talked initially, about earlier when it comes about own communities, own platforms, and providing value to the communities. And one thing that we already see is of course, you build when you do an NFT drop in game X, it is like an NFT drop in the game X, but then, or you do mint a project, an NFT collection, it is for this NFT collection. But I think beyond that, as it's on the blockchain, there's a lot of opportunity to make it interoperable and build something that goes beyond this. And we see that as basic example is you can have a Bored Ape Sandbox avatar if you have a Bored Ape, and you can play around it within the sandbox through the same token. So we recognize that you have this NFT within your wallet, and we see that a lot of other communities now adopting this as well, and we're working with them directly to enable this. And it goes back to of course, it's not a must-have, but it provides additional value to this community that goes beyond the initial platform of choice. And I think this is important. So it's up to the platform itself and or the community to decide this, if it's really true Web3 and it's self-governed. But personally, I would definitely be on the pro side of this.
And if I jump in, if you saw the latest news and going back to the big players, let's say Meta, Facebook, they just announced that they want to create NFTs. Would this be tradable? You can create them and tradable in Instagram and Facebook. So there is now the question here, because as a big player, do I want to give the opportunity from my NFT, what I create in the, let's say, in the metaverse, and have someone or giving them access, people outside of the Facebook metaverse. You know what I mean? So this is something I think as a global player, because for example, if you make Facebook ads, you get less, you get lower cost if you advertise and bring people back into the Facebook or if you promote a Facebook website. But if you promote your own website, you get higher fees basically, because you lead them back from the away from the platform, and there I see that it's why that's good if we build an open metaverse, borderless with the people who are already existing. And if a big player again coming, I see the problem that he could try to build basically a metaverse and want the population of the metaverse people in a centralized metaverse. And this is just what I see when I saw the news outcoming.
Yeah, we can jump on another question. Thank you guys for that. We have another question from Samuel E. In Metaverse, is all games or any social media platforms need to connect only in one account? Which is a very interesting question.
Do you mean one account across all these experiences?
Exactly.
But it's interesting. But I think the concept of identity on those platforms and in Web3 in general is also kind of being completely revisited. Yeah, I'm sure you all saw this illustration of saying, Web 1 was you enter your login and password. Web 2 is you're doing a single sign-on through Facebook, Google authentication services, and Web 3 will be through your wallet, your MetaMask, so. A lot of, I think games, because people keep seeing those platforms or those games or those worlds as you need to have an expensive NFT that you're going to. So basically, there's a huge entry barrier to be able to interact with these worlds because you need to buy an NFT that is very expensive. But this is absolutely not what's going to happen. It's not because we're talking about ownership that we're talking about purchased ownership. The ownership can come from so many different sources. It can be purchased indeed, but it can also be earned and can be collected. So you're going to be able to get in this world and leverage NFTs that you might have bought or NFTs that you can earn by playing the game, by doing things in these worlds. And that is, I think that this is going to contribute to your identity. So I don't know if there is going to be because again, I think it will be this world where we're giving you back, what you should rightfully own, and you will define your identity through that. So I don't even know if we will have like a single account system or a single identity, but indirectly we will have it if you connect your wallet to one of these platforms, and that your identity goes through what you own. Then in a way you will kind of have.
True. Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. So guys, we're kind of running out of time, sadly, because the conversation is very interesting for sure. So let's address one last question. And well, of course, as Serena was saying, you're all welcome to continue the conversation on social media, on Twitter, YouTube, wherever you wherever you want to join us next. So as a last question for the panel. So for anyone interested in the metaverse, how can they start to learn more about it, even from zero? What do you think?
I think to buy maybe an NFT or read about an NFT, or own a piece of digital art or currency. I think this is, you all own already something what can be used in the metaverse. And if you really have no clue, I think there's a movie, Ready Player One. Watch it, and then it's maybe a centralized metaverse, but it's at least you understand what we looking or facing maybe in the future. So
our world is not that bad. Our world is not as bad as in Ready Player One. The physical world is not that bad.
Yeah, of course, but what
I agree. I agree with you on the virtual side. Don't look at the physical part. It sucks.
Yeah. I'm not saying the physical world will change like that, but just to give them the understanding, how the metaverse could look like. And VR is definitely a big player of the metaverse, but it's way too early. So, and then having conversations with them after they watch the movie. And if you have time, I don't have time really in my business to sit down with people who have not so much. I really would. That's why we need to have an education platform, basically, what teach them on a very, very simple way, building up, integrating them, and developing in the metaverse. Because this is also just from my background, for example, employee integration is super important, and especially employee development. And let's say everybody who need to come on board need to be onboarded in a very, very smooth way. And the games, just from the gaming side, they have usually easy access and let's say and fun. But crypto, we have still what we had in the beginning: wallets, gas fees. There is some barriers, yeah. So, and we can only deal with that with education, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Ben, Marcus, would you like to add anything to that question?
I have not so much to add to this. Like, get engaged. Like, go on Twitter, go on Discord, find a community that you resonate with. Browse OpenSea, see what you like. Get to learn about the team behind. Get to learn about the community. Mint an NFT. Pay gas fee. Be upset about gas fees. It's part of the learning process. But like, get in. Like, yeah, joining the space and engaging with
I
it.
agree. We need more people being mad at gas fees because that will eventually promote, improve technology improvements that will reduce them. So we need a lot of angry people at gas fees.
Okay. So basically, come here and get angry. No, just kidding. So thank
and
you
again,
very much.
would like to emphasize it doesn't have to cost you money. Even for setting aside the gas fees, there are a lot of ways to interact with Web3 for free. There are platforms, there are games where you can just participate into the community. There are a lot of airdrops. It's not reserved for people who can afford to buy a Bored Ape. There are a lot of other NFTs and assets, and so come and get into the experience to understand also what it means, what staking is, etc.
And that's a good point, Ben. I think participating in a community, and looking at what they offer, that already there you learn the most. And then you don't need even to pay anything. And this is how NFT communities usually grow up. You participate, you support them, and your reward can be an NFT or just whatever they have in the roadmap. It suits you, and a good.
Which is the whole point. Actually, we didn't talk about that, but that's the whole point. Is that as being a member of a community, you participate to the value creation of the service, the product, the community. So that and you're being rewarded eventually for that. The whole point of NFTs was not just to be able to sell more stuff. It was to be able to have a much more fair way to reward every stakeholder, and the players, the users, the community is a very important stakeholder of that whole value chain. Now you get an opportunity by being active to get the reward for that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, very good suggestions and recommendations for anyone wondering how to get started. We ran out of time, so I would like to thank all of you. Well, of course, Mirko, Ben, Marcus for being here today, and to anyone else who was watching it live and who's gonna watch it later, of course. It was a very nice conversation. Hope you had a good time and learned a thing or two. Remember to follow the Blockchain Game Alliance on Twitter for further updates. Also, we have available the latest report on the state of blockchain gaming in 2021. And of course, you can visit our website and learn a little bit more. And hopefully, you can join the Blockchain Game Alliance in the near future. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here. And hopefully, you have a good weekend as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.